Windshield Time Live. Chris,
yes,
how you doing, man?
Good. Make sure everybody keeps their hands on the wheel, man.
Yeah, right? Right? Exactly. Hold on here 1 second. I just want to make sure we're yeah. All right, we're good.
I always get these guys, Joe. I always get these guys that call me for like a consult. We do a lot of consultations before we just, help somebody. I want to understand their business, right? And they'll be calling me and they're going to have their phone up here and they're holding it. And I'm like, what are you doing? And I'm seeing the cars go by and I'm like, can you please just turn the camera off, pull over? Yeah. I'm like, trust me, financing is fun, but it ain't that much fun if you have your truck around.
It ain't that fun. I may or may not have one of those cool little laptop holders like law enforcement does in their cars up by the front seat. Yeah, that may or may not be the case for me.
Oh man, I get it all the time. I have to, because I love, like, when I get time out of this office and I've got windshield time. No pun intended. Yeah, I love just putting my phone up in that thing and like doing a 15 or 20-minute training or rant on whatever's in my mind, and then land and then upload it to my YouTube contractor training channel. And then I upload it into our university. I love driving and doing lessons from the road. It's just something about being out on the road. I love it.
I'll tell you one thing. I was looking at your page. By the way, when we're done, please make sure, like, put this into the group, because you're not afraid to get on with yourself and drop some nuggets. I was flying through them the other day. So please, let's share it to the page if you don't mind, so they know they can log on and see those.
Oh, for sure, man. Sometimes I think it's too much, but then again, I was like, Gary Vee said something about, money is attention. Look, at the end of the day, if somebody doesn't like following you, all they have to do is unfollow you. If they don't like your political beliefs, all they have to do is unfollow you. And if people think that I'm educating too much about financing and contracting, well, guess what? You can unfollow me, or you can just it. So I don't really care. I'm here to help I'm here to help contractors win. I don't care. So
that's that's good, because that's the sole purpose of In-Home Sales Pros. I think I posted about it a week ago. I had a bunch of people reach out and they're like, "Hey, what kind of kickbacks are you getting from so-and-so for having them on?" I'm like, "Kickbacks? What are you talking about?" I don't. So, hey, man, there's a lot of people, and including myself, as I mentioned to you earlier, other than me knowing you kind of through the social media and the industry is at a high level, why don't you just, if you don't mind, give everybody a kind of a 2-minute, make it as long as you want, honestly. But who the heck is Chris? And probably we'll highlight what we're going to talk about today.
All right. Sounds fair. I think it's important, right? Like, have some establishment of credibility, especially if nowadays in this like land of everyone's a freaking coach and guru. Like, it's important for me to start the conversation with the credibility of what I've done in life to get to where the hell I am at 53. And guess what? When you're 50, you earned it. So you can brag about it a little bit. So I started swinging a hammer in 87 when I was in high school, custom homes up in Western New York, right between Buffalo and Rochester. Yeah. So I grew up on the farmlands. And then I moved down to Florida in 91 and started doing roofs up in St. Lucie West, where all the baseball is done up there. And then in 1993, I got into banking, but I got into the construction side of financing. So that's when I started working in finance. It was in 1993 for a Jewish bank down in Aventura called Republic National Bank of New York. So I cut my teeth in the construction to permanent lending industry for 18 and a half years, 1993 on.
The old co-perm.
Dude, I put my time in. I worked for, oh my God, Republic, HSBC, Chevy Chase, IndyMac Bank, USAA, Bethesda, BF Saul. I worked in Wall Street in corporate compliance for 4 years.
No wonder you don't have hair.
Yeah. So I've been doing this shit for a long time. Right? I don't even look like a banker. I've got tattoos and I'm a little rough around the edges with the beard and the Viking look. And I probably don't look like the quintessential banker, and I was also trained by some of the best in the industry, like Mark Birch and Chuck over at Service Finance. I was a senior vice president and I worked with those guys for a long time. And I helped train Beacon and Owens Corning and a lot of the other different programs over there. So I really enjoyed working with those guys. They're true professionals and they're cutting industry leaders that have brought me to where I am today and gave me the knowledge and education, the foundation. I can actually just go out there and help other people now.
Yeah.
And when I compete, on the financing side, I compete against all those guys. But you know what? I also love them. I really don't. I don't treat competitors in a negative way. It gives me a reason to wake up and try to be better, right? If we didn't have any competitors, we could just stay in bed and suck our thumbs.
Yeah.
That's not how this is. So anyway, long story short, I'm 53, been in the industry a long time, and I help contractors with financing and finance training. That's what I do.
Yeah, I was talking to a friend of mine in the industry earlier today. He's probably on now, and I was like, it's very rare that you run into either supplier reps, or dealer reps, whatever it may be, manufacturer reps that actually know what we do in the home. Like they provide a product, a service, or whatever. But when you go to ask them, hey, could you maybe work with my team on how to introduce financing? They're like, no.
Dude, there's a lot of these fintech companies that are popped up, and especially up in Atlanta. I won't name them. They're hiring kids out of college, putting headsets on them, putting them in a cubicle, and trying to tell a contractor that's been in this industry for 17 years how to sell financing at the point of sale. Okay. Oh, and then here's the best is when that little 20-year-old kid that just nothing wrong with a 20-year-old kid. Welcome to the industry. Nothing. He's got to call that guy and go, you know what? We're kicking you out of the program because you're not offering the 12-month same as cash enough at every sit. So we're going to let you go. And the guy on the other end was like, you're kicking me out of the program because I'm not offering a 12-month same as cash? I offer financing at every sit, and you're my first look lender. You're kicking me out? Yeah, we're letting you go. Trust me. This is not bullshit. I get the freaking phone calls. They're like, can you believe that X lender cut me out? And I'm like, why'd they cut you out? And they tell me verbatim what was said. And I'm like, come on over, man.
Yeah.
Come on over to my platform. The water's fine.
I love it.
You can use me as a second look lender, a third look lender. I'll never kick you out of the program. I'm here to help your customers with funding, baby. Let's go.
I love it. So I want to dive in right away. I mentioned to you before we started, obviously we have owners, we have, but the group is for primarily the guys and gals that are carrying the bag in the home every day.
Yeah. Yep.
If I probably put feelers out there, I would say a solid rep in my experience is probably financing 70% of his jobs. I mean, I guess it depends on obviously average sale and products and things. But aside from that, obviously, how important it is and how critical it is. If you just look at the average household savings, cash account, you'll know that if you're selling anything north of 10 grand, you better have financing. Yeah. What are the biggest challenges that you see with salespeople offering financing?
Couple things, and you touched on something. Let me touch on two things. Number one, and we'll come back to this. I want to touch on something more important real quick. Okay. The sales pro, and I call it selling from their back pocket, where they get so conditioned to how they look at a menu and the price of something that they think something is expensive themselves, and their confidence level at presenting what they're selling shows. So when a sales rep comes in and they realize that the item is, I don't care what it is, $168 a month. And if that sales rep feels, and his confidence level feels like 168 is too much because he can't pay it, and it shows to the consumer, the deal's done. So it's imperative that sales professionals do not ever portray that and or sell from their back pocket. Always assume that it's about the payment option and the affordability of the consumer that you're helping fulfill the need to. It's never about the number. It's always about the price. Because if you can get to the price, they'll buy. But the confidence of the sales professional has to shine through this. And if they feel like you feel like it's a lot of money, they're going to feel that energy. So sales pros, never sell from your back pocket. Now let's get back to what you had said there. The cost of everything is exponentially high. I just did a training today on distributors increasing their cost by 7%, and the roofing industry is freaking out. From ABC and Beacon, whoever the distributors are, released another letter saying cost of goods are up. And now roofers are like, oh my God, I got to change my prices. And I did a full analysis in the training in my university talking about the fact of how the difference is this. If you're selling a product for $10,000 right now on a 9.99 10-year, it's $132 a month. If you have to increase your prices and your gross margins and your profitability because the distributor added 7%, it changes the price at the point of sale from $10,238. The net effect to the consumer at the point of sale is $135 per month. It's $3. So contractors get in their head on so much stuff that's coming in, and they let it affect them negatively instead of just thinking about the end result and the impact to the consumer at the point of sale. They don't care that it's $3 more a month. It went from 132 to 135, your 7% increase. Yeah, it's going up. It's happening in air conditioning. It's happening in roofing. So contractors, don't freak out. Just adjust your prices accordingly and keep selling. But to your point, nobody's got money. They have money. Where we live, they have money. But I did a training a few weeks ago, and I got a little emotional in it because I put myself in the state of, if I had an emergency in my house right now, and I only had $15,000 in my checking and my savings account, and most people in America don't have that, by the way. If I only had $15,000 and the product that I had to add and get done in my home was 12, and that only left me with $3,000 to my name for my family in my checking and my savings, how would I feel, number one, as a man? Would I feel secure and safe for my family? So financing, and I know it's the F word and everything else, like it's not about that. What it's about, everyone, it's about delivering the security to your homeowner that you're selling something to alleviate the pain and the friction of them writing a big freaking check to you that you may empty their entire bank account. Or they may put it on a stupid credit card that they're paying 29% and they'll never get out from underneath that thing. So by giving them this payment option at the point of sale, we're alleviating this freaking stress from their life and giving them an affordable payment solution to pay over a period of time and no prepayment penalty. So it isn't really about the sale. It's eliminating the friction and the pain that your customers are really feeling at the point of sale and what's going on behind it. So anyway, I know I'm on my soapbox and I kind of
No. I mean, you're hitting on a bunch of things but I like hearing it from someone other than myself. Right? Let's just be honest. But so the one thing that you hit on that I wanted to bring up, and just curious, you mentioned, say, I don't even know, I think it was what, 99 for 120. What are you seeing in, like, is a good spread? Are you seeing more success using a low payment option or like a promotional type plan?
I can speak to this very openly.
Okay.
Adverse selection is a problem. And the CFPB and the CC, they're going to come down on it at some point where contractors aren't going to be able to force particular programs onto a consumer. They're going to have to let the consumer have more options and let the consumer decide. So with that, let's get rid of compliance first. If I have the ability from my mobile app at your point of sale, and let's say it's what number? You want to say $15,000, $10,000 ticket?
I think 15. Yeah. Good. Whatever. Simple math.
$10,000 ticket at the point of sale. And if I can do a soft credit pull in 30 seconds, get the consumer approved, max approval will always show up in the portal so the consumer knows what it is in case of a change order unless they want good, better, and best. But let's say we get them approved to $10,000 and the consumer is applied and their personal information is on their device and they get the approval. So they're happy. And you as a contractor at the point of sale, you're happy. So you're all celebrating. The consumer has the ability now to choose between 2 and 20 years on what size payment and term they want. The consumer chooses, not the contractor forcing them into a 10, 8, 12, or 15-year term. Consumer chooses how big they want their payment to be with no prepayment penalty. The consumer can go, oh, I want an 18-month same as cash. Click the button. Then the 18-month same as cash is built into the term that they chose. So you could literally get $10,000, do it on 20 years, add an 18-month or 12-month same as cash, and have that 12 or 18-month built into the 20-year term now. So it roll over to default. It just simply rolls over to the rest of the 20-year term. That's putting the onus back on the consumer to let them choose what they wanted to choose at the point of sale, not the sales rep forcing them what to take. That's a new way of selling, right? Because typically we'd show up and we'd say, and I call this the matrix flow. I also do matrix flow flaying because I'm agnostic when it comes to whomever your lender is with my training. I don't care if you're with me or if you're with lender A, B, or C. I will train everybody on anyone's program. I don't care. So matrix flow is this. I'm always going to present the 15-year. And if they object, I'm going to say, hey, how about a 10-year? And I might drop the point. It might be a 10, 9, 9, 15. I drop to an 8, 9, 9, 10. And if they object at that, I may say, well, if that isn't working for you and it's not the price, it's not the rate, how about a 12-month same as cash? Well, we can't pay that off. Great. So let's go back to the 10 or the 50. So to answer your question, for years and years and years, it was the 10-year 999, right? It was the 10-year because it would just sell. And that was all of the lenders.
Yeah.
Everybody sold that. There was no dealer fee whatsoever. Life was beautiful until the Fed started doing what the Feds do best, raising rates. So now lenders, and I'll use plural for that, are selling the no dealer fee 10-year, whatever that program is now, from maybe still at a 9.9 all the way up to a 13.99, right? So rates have gone up. However, to answer your question, Joe, I still think that 10-year is nice because of how long people stay in homes. Maybe the extended warranty or the warranty on the air conditioning system or the roofing system or the generator or whatever the installation is. So I think that 10-year is kind of comfortable. However, we're starting to see more and more people do 15 to 20 because of the cost of goods. I like the 20-year because if I'm a budget buyer, not a cash buyer, right? We got pay it buyers and cash buyers. I like the 20-year because I can make double payments and pay that loan off as fast as I want. And I know that it's unsecured and there's no prepayment penalty. So I work my money a little differently than most people. You know, I would always go with a safe loan, especially in this economy.
I saw a video of you doing your matrix, and I think that's kind of awesome because you're not competing against yourself or negotiating against yourself. You're saying here are the options. Start here, then move here. You haven't adjusted the price at all. You're just going through and figuring out it's your budget.
Helping the customer understand the options so they can make a better buying decision. Because who likes rescinding on a loan? Who likes a customer that cancels? Nobody. So if they feel like they've been pressured into something, you're not going to win anyway. You're going to lose because they're going to cancel. So why not just let the customer make an educated buying decision, give them the options, help them, guide them, educate them, and teach them, but don't make the option for them. That's why I love the new system, because you as a consultative sales professional, you can talk about the options that are in front of them. Matter of fact, what a great time to introduce the fact of good, better, and best if you're selling 3 different types of systems and levels, right? So if I apply for $10,000 and my system shows you in your portal and the customer that they're approved to 50, or we go up to 150,000. But anyway, let's just say they get approved to 50,000. I now might be able to show them the different SEER level ratings for air conditioning, maybe a bathroom system, maybe a better flooring system. It doesn't matter what the home improvement is. You then can let the consumer really justify, wow, it's only from $100 to $150 to $175. And the wife is always nudging the husband. I want the best.
Yeah.
So if we can show them the affordability there between 10, 12, 5, and 15, and it's only a little bit of a bump, they'll make a better buying decision, maybe for a better warranty or a roof maintenance program or an air conditioning maintenance program that's added on it. So you can go visit them twice a year and the neighbors, stay in front of them. So the next time something happens, they remember you, not the competitor. Yeah.
So obviously you're a subject matter expert, right? Let's just call it what it is. How much do you think a rep needs to be trained on? Let's just say a little bit more about the details of, say, the loans that you're offering. Like how far do you think a rep should really be versed on, some would say getting into the weeds. I think it depends on who you're in front of, but rates, understanding, because if you talk to a rep right now, I guarantee you they'll probably say one of 3 things: simple interest loan, only pay interest on what you borrow for however long you borrow it, and there's no prepayment penalty. Which, that's obviously, I'm bravo for knowing at least that. But I guess how educated should they be to be able to, like you mentioned, collaborate with a customer and help them see, in some cases, logically, like, hey, this actually makes more sense for you to get what you want, versus just what you can afford, say, out of pocket, right? Yep. I always joke with the teams my team, whatever. It's like, man, if I had to pay cash for my vehicle, I'd have a 1962 Pinto. You know what I mean? Yeah, so how, for me, it's not, I've never been, and there's people out there that are so like, no loans, but it's like, okay, well, how do you get what you want? And then what do you risk about waiting, right? Inflation, interest, all the things that you wait. But back to the rep, how much, obviously you train them on how to present financing, but how much do you get them, like kind of like with the other side of the coin, like how much product knowledge do you have about your product? In this case, with financing being the product, how much knowledge do you feel a rep should have?
All of it.
Okay.
And here's why.
It took me 2.5 minutes to ask you the question. Took you 5 seconds to good. Okay.
All of it. Here's the reason why. They are a professional. It's what they do for a living. They chose the profession of being an in-home sales professional for some type of home improvement. That's their freaking job. They wake up in the morning and they consult and they help people. They should know everything. They should know their stuff. They should know their company. They should know all the homes in the area and the zip code that they visited with. They should be able to show on a map all of their installs. They should have company cams program projects showing showing the beginning, the middle, and the end. I call that show, tell, and sell theory. They should also know their finance programs inside and out. Here's the reason why. He who educates dominates. He who educates dominates. And here's the reason why. I don't care who the customer is, and I'm not here to impress people with knowledge. I'm here to answer their questions and make them feel comfortable about the buying purchase. And if the entire buying purchase hinges on a monthly payment, I'm going to solve for that. And what is the thing that solves for it? Well, it's financing. So why not know as much about financing as you do is about the system of the home improvement that you're installing? Furthermore, if you educate and they don't make a buying decision, and it's a rehash someday, maybe a be back, whatever you want to call it, I don't care. And you've educated them and consulted with them and helped them, you're going to destroy it for the sucker that follows you.
Yeah.
You're going to ruin the sale for the guy that knocks on that door or has to come after you. And that education and you don't want to over-educate. You don't want to make it confusing, but they should know everything. They should know the difference between same as cash, EPNI, with payment deferred interest. If they ask them the question, you should be able to answer that stuff. And you can get it from your lender, and you can learn how to educate them. You should know that there's an unsecured and secured. If you are offering our secured options, you should be able to pull that out of your back pocket to stop them from going to the bank. We can talk about that if you want to, but you should be as educated on the finance solution as you are on the product that you sell, because the entire sale hinges on them saying yes to a price. Let me illustrate real quick.
Yeah.
My neighbor's got a Lambo. He wants to sell me the Lambo for $5,500. I hate Lambos. I drive a GMC 2500 HD Z71. I don't like Lambos, but he's going to give me the Lambo for $5,500. I'm going to find that money somewhere. I'm going to buy it. I'm going to resell it for $225, and I'm going to make a lot of money. I'm going to take that from him, and I'm going to sell it. But I'm going to buy his Lambo. Why?
The deal?
$5,500. It was the price.
Okay.
Now he comes to me, he says, "Hey Chris, this thing's worth $250. I'm going to sell it to you for $225. Am I going to buy it? Nope. Why? Because the price. If they sell me something, I'm going to buy it because of the price. I'm going to resell it. Everything comes down to price. I might have found 200 and taken the risk and make 25,000, but I'm still not going to do it because the price is too high. This is to illustrate the fact that the entire sale of that stupid Lambo was the price that got me to buy the damn thing. It's the same thing for the home improvement. It gets down to the price, because if you made your price so ridiculous and you made the home improvement $10, they buy it. You're not going to, but
yeah,
the entire sale hinges on the price. So you should know everything that's surrounded around the price, and there are different ways to go and find the money. Like if the rep doesn't know that the lender uses total household income, and Mr. Smith is the breadwinner and he makes $175,000 a year, he's got a 400 FICO and he gets declined. But he makes all the money. But Mrs. Smith makes pies and doesn't work, but she has an 800. We can use Mrs. Smith on the application with total household income to get the loan approved. The rep doesn't know that. He just lost the deal. So the reps need to know everything. They really do.
So, I hear people's different points of view. So I just like to get it. I agree. Especially at some of the price points we're talking. I mean, you're talking big business with a customer and a big purchase. You got to know what you're offering, and not only for your own benefit to close more deals, but in general, you should be a professional.
Joe, what do you? Let me ask you a quick question.
What
do you sell?
What plans or what products?
What do you install? What's your product? What's your asset class?
Bath.
Okay.
Currently.
So bath, just the wet areas?
Yeah, one day. Yep.
Okay, one day. So there's three. I have three buckets that I train to. I have the grudge purchase, I have the want need, and I have the ego.
What was the first one?
Grudge.
Oh, grudge.
Grudge purchase, home improvements, want need home improvements, and ego purchases, home improvements. Where would you see your product fitting in one of those three buckets?
The middle one, want need?
Yeah, you're a want need probably. Because nobody's having their friends over to have a tea in the bathroom. They're bringing them over to hang out in the kitchen and see the flooring and the waterfall, right?
Speak for yourself, buddy. Aren't you in Florida? Isn't there like a town where you guys bring neighbors in?
Yeah, where they hang out, they hang the pineapples upside down. Come on over and see my bathroom, man.
Why is everybody have white rocks in front of their doorstep? I don't know.
Like, I train to this because if you don't know the psychology of who you're selling to, it's kind of sometimes hard to get to the hot point of why they should buy the damn thing. So if you're in the want need, you're leaning in hard on those areas that they really want and need to change. Whereas your grudge purchase in Florida is really fun thing to sell. Your grudge purchase is going to be your air conditioner. All you got to do as an air conditioning pro is show up in Florida to make a sale. Maybe your roof, right? Nobody really brags about how straight the roof lines are unless you're putting on a beautiful metal roof. But no one's having a party for that stuff. However, they are having a party for the new floor, the new kitchen, the full remodel. And then the ego purchase is always really fun, which is the waterfall outback living space that rolls into the Blackstone kitchen out. You know what I mean? Like there's some real far out there ego stuff that crosses into want and need. But the psychology of the buyer also is something that the rep should learn as to who's my avatar, who do I sell, and what is the emotional decision behind them buying this thing. Is it a grudge? Is it a want need? Or is it ego? And once you've really learned who the psychologies that you're selling to, you as a sales pro can have a lot of fun.
I love it. I've never looked at it in that sense, but it's valid point. I have a question around options. I saw your matrix. Is that typically in terms of like, do you recommend 3 options so if I'm an owner and I'm giving my reps financing, how many, like I saw a company the other day, the poor sales rep had an old school rate sheet, looked like a mortgage loan officer. And yeah, right. So you might as well wipe your backside with that, buddy, because he's so lost. So do you have any recommendations there that you typically see?
I do. And let me make it a twofold answer. So my lending solution is a lot different than whom we were talking about earlier. So let's divide it up into 2 conversations. And I'll start with my lending solution first, just to get it out of the way. My lending solution gives the consumer a lot of power to choose what size payment that they want. So their approval is going to come in and it's going to tell them the max approval and the dollar that they're approved for. And they simply get to choose between 2 years and 20 years on what term that they want. And because it's credit risk based, it'll be based on their credit score. So if they got a great credit score like me, 850, I'm probably staring down the barrel of a 7% 20-year loan. My dealer fee is only 2% flat, by the way. It's 2% from 2 to 20 years. Yeah. So with that being said, whatever. So
call Chris.
But if my credit is a super subprime and I go down to a 600 and I'm staring down the barrel of a 14.99%, I may not get approved to $150,000 and I may only get $12,000 and I may only get it up to 15 years. So me as a consumer with my payment factor sitting there, I might be looking at $168 per month. So with mine, it's not going to give you a 10-year, 15-year, 12-year, all these weird options that you got to bounce in and out of. Mine's going to let the consumer choose which particular option within their credit approved rate. And then if they simply want to add a 12-month same as cash, it's built into the loan. So I'm totally different. Now so that's Chris Scoville's programs out of the way. Now let's talk about the agnostic approach to finance training with all the other lenders that I trained them on as well. I love the idea of maybe max 3 or 4. I love the flow, and it depends on the asset class and the term and the size of the ticket, of course, and that's what we consult on. I need to find that out before I tell you what programs might be good for your asset class. But let's just say general, I like a 15-year to a 10-year, and then maybe a promo, and then a hybrid. I love that flow.
Yeah.
if I have a hybrid, which is a combo, like a 6 month that rolls into an X, right? Fixed term for 10 years. There's some lenders out there have really cool hybrids. I think even Service has one. So I like that flow because that's the objection killer, but I want to keep that one in my back pocket because that's the one that closes the deal. And I want to go for a 15-year first with a no dealer fee if your lender has that. Because why? Well, if my margins are set correctly, I'm going to make probably more money for the company. And then my payment's going to be the lowest probably on that because it's the longest term. And then I'm going to seek for an objection. And if they object or don't object, we're going to move forward. So what you're saying is you don't like the 1099, but if I got you an 899 10-year, would that work for you? Yes, absolutely. You could take 2 points off the deal, man. Let's go. So then you shift to a 10, but wait a minute. Why did the payment jump, Chris? Well, we took 5 years off, sir, but you said you wanted an 899, right? Nodding. He's going, oh, yeah, you're right. Let's go. Objection covered. Let's go. Now, man, you know what, Chris? It's not really about the 10-year. It's not about the 15-year. It's not about the 1099, the 899. Dude, I just don't want to pay those lenders, those scumbags. I don't want to pay them interest. I'm going to just pay this thing off in 12 months. Do you have a 12-month same as cash? Absolutely. Now, Mr. Smith, before we do this, can you divide 20,000 or 10,000 into 12 equal payments and make this payment? No, that's ludicrous. I can't afford that payment monthly. Okay, wait a minute. I gave you this, and the payment was this, and then you wanted the 899, but then you realized you didn't want to pay interest to the bank, so I gave you a loan that didn't have any interest, but now you're dividing it up into 12 because the promotional loan's got to be paid off in 12 months or else it rolls over to X. That didn't work for you? You know what I'm thinking? I'm understanding you, Mr. Smith. Now, you need a combination of both, right? Now I'm nodding yes, and now he's going, yeah, I'm with you. Let's give you the hybrid 6-month promo that rolls over on month 7 into a fixed term for 10 years. Oh my gosh, you have that? Yeah, that's going to solve for all your needs, right? Yeah, let's go. So those are two different selling styles. I call the second one matrix flow. I'm seeking and searching for objections to shut down and place a new solution, shut down, place a new solution, shut down. But now, if I get down and he says he doesn't want the hybrid, he doesn't like me. There's a hidden objection. He doesn't want to buy. I have to go back outside. I have to take my booties off, put my booties back on, knock on the door, and start the presentation all over because there's a hidden objection.
Yeah.
There's a hidden objection. It wasn't about the price. It wasn't about the rate. It wasn't about the term. There's something about me he doesn't like. I probably talk too damn much.
Yeah, I think that's a missing link. And I have an example personally. My beautiful bride, the warden, I like to call her. She's never been a fan of, monthly payments. And she would always give me a hard time about truck payments. She's like, I've been with you for 8 years, and I think you've had a different truck every year. And again, car payments, my office, right? Doesn't bother me.
Yeah.
Well, fast forward a year ago, she gets an itch that she wants a new vehicle, and obviously you see what car loans are like.
Yeah. You gotta take a mortgage out now on them.
Right? So, but I'll never forget. She's like, hey, I ordered the truck. I was like, you did? I was like, oh, I was like, you just gonna buy it outright? She's like, no, I'm actually gonna go ahead. I'll put some down, but I was like, oh, well, what? The rate's like 7% with 850 credits. I mean, same thing. She got great credit, and I'm like, I was like, man, this is a little like, everything okay? Are you sure? And but what I'm getting at is she wanted it. Yeah. So it made sense to her in her mind that that's no problem.
Yeah.
But she wanted it.
She wanted it. Yeah.
Right. For someone who is so giving me a hard time about 0% loan or this or whatever car payment.
No.
But it hit me when it happened. I go, man, the mind can change once on something when you want it.
Yeah. They're the pros. You show up and we all want the WT, the work truck.
Yeah.
We think simplicity is going to work. And we have in our minds as a man or a woman that we're only going to pay $590 a month. And then we get there and we see the XLT. And then we go, I can't believe I got approved to $85,000.
Yeah.
And they're like, yeah, so your payment's only going to be $790 a month. And you mentally were there to pay $590. And then you see the work truck and you compare it to the XLT. And psychologically, your wife's going, we're not driving in that because it's got plastic floors. And then we justify it because now we take $200 more than we were going to spend. We divide it by 4 and we go, I can make that extra $50 a week. I can do that because, man, that truck's a hell of a lot nicer. So It's the same in home improvements, everyone, if there's anybody on here watching this.
Yeah, there is. Yeah.
It's the same situation and solution that you're providing them. You just got to let them see it.
Yeah. How early or how often are you talking? You're not just waiting until obviously let's just say the close to begin talking about financing, are you?
Early, always, and often, because you can do it nicely, and not salesy. It can be done in a very consultative approach. As you know, the laminate process always works really well. Do you guys still use the laminate process?
No, I'm not familiar with it. I mean, we may, but I've never heard it.
Let me explain and share. This is brilliant. So you've got your laminate, and it's got the name of your company, and it's got your 18-month same as cash and your low monthly payment options. So you've got your laminate that you carry into the house with your things.
Okay.
Your first step, though, well, there's a lot of steps that lead up to the door. You're in the house.
Yeah.
Hey, at least you guys are friends now. Your next question should be, hey, you know what, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, I'm going to go do the inspection. Where can I set this information down so when I'm done with the findings, we can just sit down and discuss what I've found? And now I'm covering all home improvements. Everyone's got a different walkthrough. Let me just be super general. So when I set my laminate down on their table, I'm doing it as an angle, never as a 90-degree and never in this direction. I'm doing it in a weird way because I want Mr. and Mrs. Smith to come on over and take a little peek and gander at that thing that says we have a consumer financing center. And it says 18 months or 12 months, same as cash, and long-term low monthly payment options, no credit pull, soft credit pull, instant approval. Like it's got some bullet points on it.
Yeah.
2 years to 20 years, $150,000 unsecured. Like there's some bullet points on it. And it's got a logo on it. It looks professional. I want them to literally plant that seed. So when I come back, I see that the thing is moved into a different position. And I know, wow, they looked at it. Now, Mr. and Mrs. Smith are going, hey, what's this consumer financing center thing you got over here? Oh, well, you know what? I'm not sure how you all were looking to pay, but if you'd like to use your money, that's fine. Or if you'd like to use ours, we can go that route too, because I can take a soft credit pull through my mobile app and get you approved within 30 seconds. And we can find out what the lender approval is based on your credit and your ability to repay, which is called the debt to income. We can find out what you're approved for with a soft credit pull right now today, which is really neat. But here, let me tell you about my findings first.
Yeah.
So we planted some nice seeds. So when it comes to the price of the contract, and it says this,
yep,
you don't get pregnant pause anymore, because what they really need to see is this. So pregnant pause, I can afford that. Shocking, you're emptied my savings account. It's only $132 a month. It's the same thing. We've just released the friction of the sale ever so nicely and kindly. Early, always, and often, marketing, advertising, conversational. Becky at the front desk better damn well know that you have a financing solution that can be presented with a soft credit pull in 30 seconds when Johnny Boy comes out to the house. Because if they ask Becky at the front desk and Becky doesn't know, and that consumer knows how expensive it is because they've been on Home Advisor. That was a slap, by the way, because Home Advisor lies. Anyway, they may Google and go to the next customer if Becky doesn't know that you have a finance solution. That's my point. So I think that financing should be early, always, and often. It should be advertising. It should be marketing. It should be a soft sell at the point of sale. I know that you're going to do business with us because of X, Y, and Z. Were y'all looking to use my money, or are you going to be using yours today? And they're going to go, what the hell do you mean your money? Of course we're going to use yours. It's a little bit of a fun statement to say, too, because it's a complete takeaway. They're not expecting you go, are you going to be using my money for this project or yours? Are you asking me for the sale? No, I'm telling you, man, you can use my money. I can? Yeah, we've got a consumer finance center, and I can find out what you're approved for in 30 seconds.
Dude, I just called you dude. Sorry. Chris, that's a great pattern interrupt with that, because they're not expecting that. You just stopped them in their tracks when you say, hey, you want to use my money? And they're like, what? Yeah. Now you just completely pattern interrupt. Anyway,
I'm going to give that one to you, man.
Yeah. I just think it
is. And you're not being sleazy. None of the stuff we're discussing here today, by the way, everyone, none of this is sleazy. I'm not a sleazy sales guy. I'm just in the finance business, man. This is all that I do. This is all that I know.
Yeah, I will vouch for that. I mean, I watched quite a few of the videos in the past couple of weeks when you and I were first talking, and because there's enough of that out there, right? Where it's like,
it is.
My other, I got some questions some guys sent me, so I just want to make sure I get it. So, what do you recommend on customer? And I think you mentioned this a minute ago and said we could dive on it, so it's pretty funny that it came up. What do you say to that customer? You're in the close, you're going through, say, a matrix flow like you're talking about, and they're like, I want to go to my local credit union.
Yes, I can absolutely appreciate that, Mr. Smith. Here's the great news. We're going to bring the credit to union to you right here, right now. So we have at Improvify, we have a solution. I call it the bank stopper. So what that means in a few steps is this. That consumer really ain't going to his bank to get money. He's getting you out of the house.
Yeah.
It's a hidden objection, probably, but it might be a real objection. Who knows? Who cares? If you as a professional, remember we're professionals, can bring the bank to the customer with a mobile app and a soft credit pull in 30 seconds to get them approved up to $400,000 with no appraisal, and put a second closed-end high, I call it a high loan, a home improvement loan on their house with prime rates with no dealer fee. You can now do that with our mobile app. So you're answering his objection. His objection may be valid. He may want the bathroom, but he may want to redo his deck. He may want to do some debt consolidation. He may want a pergola. He may have 4 contractors in mind to do a home improvement project, and you're only doing the wet spots. So it may be valid. You may want to ask him, hey, what are you looking to do in this home improvement project in your house? Well, we're going to do this, this, and this. And you're as a contractor going, shit, I can only do one of them. So how's that going to work if I have to give him an unsecured loan? They're going to have to go get a couple loans, right? So you may be problem solving in your head. So yeah, we have a product and a solution at the point of sale that a sales rep can bring out, take the soft credit pull application, get it approved on the spot, paperless process, approved. Money tries to close between 5 and 10 days, not 45 to 60 days. And the beauty of this is this. They're there with you. They get the approval, get the signed contract, make that customer yours. Because remember, in the unsecured world, we're going to give you progress pays at our company, and the money's going to go to your ACH account, whether it's in drips or 100% at completion. But in the secured world, that money goes to the consumer. So with your contract and their approval that you have online with us, have them sign the contract. And if you feel comfortable about asking for 33% down at a draw, get the cash down from them, because that's going to make the deal stickier and stop them from shopping when they become a cash customer. So I'm big on stickiness. So if you're giving them a solution at the point of sale, which is now a secured solution, make sure they sign your finance agreement, get some buy-in, get something sticky with them so they don't take that money and go shopping. But we're going to lessen the shop. We're going to lessen the chance of them going down to the bank and go hunting because you've given them the bid now. Because we all know what happens when a customer becomes a cash customer. They're going to ask for a discount and they're going to shop 3 bids. But if we can stop it at the point of sale with our bank stopper, then we're going to win more. And we don't have to get any cash discounts because we don't give cash discounts. We ask for 3 referrals from church, work, and school and a yard sign for 90 days. We make them earn discounts in this world.
I love it, man. I love it. You're spot on with this. By other, are you seeing any slowdown in, because you get to see from a lot of different companies and dealers and everything. Are you seeing any slowdown with inflation and everything else happening? Are you seeing you're seeing this drive an increase with financing, a decrease? What do you see from a perspective?
And I'm also a geek, man. I geek out on the HIRI reports and the joint studies at Harvard. Like I geek out on all this stuff. We are seeing an exponential increase in COGS and the cost of goods, which is obviously forcing people are still buying things to financing. We have policy changes in insurance in the roofing industry, which is forcing all storm and restoration companies with high deductibles and now add financing. So for the first time in history, roofers are coming running to us to offer financing, and they have no idea how to sell it. So that's a novel thing that's happening in the industry. Cost of goods are going up. Consumer credit card debt is going up. Right. So more defaults and declines are happening from your lenders that you're seeing that now, more declines and counter offers and all that stuff. It is not going to slow down. Let's bring in the real estate market. The real estate interest rates have not come down. Prices are still high and nothing's selling. But what people are doing is improving their homes and the value and the efficiencies of their home by putting home improvements in. So it is the weirdest time of life that I can look outside and see 15 homes here in the Intercoastal for sale. Nothing selling it, but everyone's got a white van in front of their house. This guy across the street's been rebuilding this place for a year and a half. He put in a $14,000 vinyl fence the other day. I walked over to introduce myself to the fencer to say, hey, how much was this thing? And he goes, 14. I go, for that little L? He's like, yeah. I'm like, what is it? Hurricane proof? He goes, yeah, it is. So now I know why. The pylons went like 12 feet into the ground. But I said, did you offer him financing? This owner, I said, he's been in business 13 years. He goes, financing? He goes, what are you talking about? I go, did you offer him financing on the fence? He goes, what do you mean? He goes, all of our customers pay cash or credit cards. I laughed at him. I said, credit cards financing. So I don't want to go down that road anyway. I said, dude, we could finance this thing for like $100 a month. And he goes, what? I go, yeah, you could open up your market to other people that are looking for an affordable payment option on your fences. The guy's mind was blown. So there's a lot to say and unpack in this. Asset classes still don't know that financing exists. It blows my mind. Painters and fencing guys have no idea that they can finance the stuff that they're selling, and it's high-ticket stuff. Everyone's staying home and making home improvements because nobody still wants to get rid of their 3% interest rate on their 30, and the market is completely stagnant. Not much is selling right now. So it is really interesting times, Joe.
That's I saw the other day, I think it was a New York Fed release saying that car payments are the high for the first time ever, the highest they've ever been, or I'm sorry, default rate plus 90 days on car. And then it said, was talking about mortgage principal and interest payments are the highest in the U.S. economy that they've ever been. And you're like, what in the world?
It's a powder keg.
Yeah.
So we can't short like they shorted in 2008. We can't short the market with what we do. Believe me, I thought about it. Because if I could short the unsecured world right now, I would, but it's not leaned against anything, so there's no tranches.
Yeah,
I can't build a system like they did to short the market on real estate because I can't do it against a human being. And remember, these are unsecured loans attached to me as a human being. Yeah. So there's no tranches in this.
Yeah,
even if they're packaging up and selling them to Wall Street. I don't know what those bonds are. Like, I don't know how to short this market, but I do know that with credit card defaults going up, interest rates on credit cards going up, housing payments going up, you know what I mean? Like, but yet we're still lending $150,000 of unsecured funds to somebody because they got an 850 credit score and I've got stated income.
Yeah.
What? So we could have a 45-minute conversation on that, but that'll be really boring drive time.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's kind of, I think, I've been through now a few elections in this business. I think that's going to throw, always throws just a little bit of wrench, even if it does, which it shouldn't for the average consumer, it still does, especially if they watch the damn news. They're now you gotta battle against that in the home because they're like, oh, we'll see what happens when the election's through. Life's going to go on.
I always told people if I ever got out of the financing space, I surely would get into the air conditioning industry in Florida because all you got to do is show up.
Well, yeah, that's true. Pick up your phone and show up.
Look, I'm not underplaying it. I'm not downplaying it. There's more to do than show up. But when we had to buy an air conditioner here a couple years ago, I had 5 bids, 3 of which came, 2 of which didn't show up. The third guy that came in, I bought from him because he looked at my home and he goes, well, if this was my house, this is what I would put in it. That was his closing technique. And I said, oh, this is my guy. And guess what? He was double. He was $23,000. I bought a $23,000 5-zone Mitsubishi mini split heat pump system for my house. And he was the most expensive guy because he looked up on my ceiling and he goes, well, this was my house. This is what I would put in it. And he had me at that line. I was like, got him. Oh, I like that. I'm going to write it down.
Yeah. I got that. Actually, a good friend of mine did my HVAC here. And when our daughter was born 3 years ago, we needed a mini split because she was sweating bullets. We're freezing downstairs. And she's in her room sweating bullets. And he's like, man, he kind of hit me with the old, how does that make you feel?
Feel like that. Well,
yeah.
I can feel your wife's pain that she's in right now. And I found that most people at this point would probably want to replace that.
Yeah. He goes, you can't, it's nothing worse than going and waking up your daughter and she's shivering. I'm like,
God, I'm actually going to be training. Chuck Toki and those guys over at Top Rep invited me in to plug in my system.
heck
I'm
yeah.
going up to Columbus, Ohio in a couple months. And, Chuck's a good guy. Jim John, I know these guys.
Yeah.
They're guys where he was at Tundra, wasn't he?
No, he was, wasn't he with a big roofing outfit? I can't think of the name.
A couple of them. It's just nice that some of these coaches and guys out here, they actually sold in the home, right? Like, thank you, Lord, for putting a coach out here that's actually been kicked out of a house, right? Not just taking some course online and now he's a coach, right? So he does a lot of sales stuff and objection stuff, and he's pretty hyper. And he's like, dude, we're going to be plugging you in up in Ohio. Like,
oh, you'll love it.
Talking about finance. So I think that it's a specialty. It's something different that we're bringing to the marketplace, and sure is fun, man. I love this game.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. Quick thing before I let you go.
Sure.
It's funny. I see in the comments section, guys, Chris is fired up. LOL. Yeah, I think there's a transfer of energy, and that's kind of important. Like, if you can't get into this is definitely not the right business to be in.
Yeah. I mean, I talk about this it's crazy. I talk about this every day. You'd think that at some point I'd be like, oh my God, I got to talk about financing again.
I think
blood. So.
Well, it's the other thing is when it's, to me, this business, this industry, it's play. It's not work.
It's a game, man. I love it. It's fun. That's why I love my competitors. Yeah. I love competing against who we were talking about earlier. I don't know if they like competing against me. Hey, I freaking love it. I love them all, man.
I think that's the difference also, between a scarcity mindset and an abundance mindset. I mean, the pie's big enough, right?
450,000 contractors out there that need our help. Yeah, I think we're okay. And I train. When my training center that I built, I don't care who you're enrolled with. You're as important to me with what lender you're with right now as if you come through my lending facility. I don't care. So if you're with a competitor, I'll still share the knowledge and the stuff that you can use in your sales training meetings and all that stuff. This is you, man. This is for your company to win. This isn't about the lending thing, because lenders are going to come and go, man. You're going to change your lender. So I don't care who somebody's using as a finance company. I'm here to train contractors on how to sell more at the point of sale and win. That's it.
Yeah, and I think the adage that if you help others obviously get what they want, you will too in the long run. There's definitely going to be that reciprocity. The other side of it though is like, for sales managers that are on this call, I mean, it's kind of how I found Chris. Was like, look, I need another voice at my meeting. Talking about financing. It's always me talking about it. Or it's always this. Now I can play. Again, one of your training videos that's on your YouTube page. I mean, anything. There's just so much, and it's obviously validated and it's legit. It's good for your teams to hear another voice.
It is. I got a company up in Mississippi flying me up. The guy's a $35 million a year roofer. He knows what he's doing. His sales managers are buttoned down. But you know why he's hiring me to come up there for a day? Just so he can have somebody else tell him the same stuff for validation. That's it. Yeah. Third-party validation. Like, hey, that's my sales manager. God, I got to go listen to my sales manager again. But no, when a freakazoid like me walks in and has some fun with them and do some role play and maybe bring something fresh, they're going to walk away with some new skills. So it does pay to sometimes just bring some stranger into your office to talk about the same stuff you're talking about.
What products are you seeing just in general? I'm always curious for myself. What products are you seeing really kind of come into the industry and explode that maybe we're not used to?
You mean product as far as asset class?
Yeah.
Or like something new in the marketplace?
I mean, like an actual home improvement product. So I see a lot.
Yeah. Good question. Heat pumps for efficiency.
Oh, wow.
Europe has been ahead of us for years.
Oh, that's true.
Tankless water heaters, heat pumps, like my Mitsubishi 5-zone system.
Yep.
The efficiency is unbelievable. They work so well. So I think just to answer it with one particular item, heat pumps are big for the efficiency. and the simplicity. So those are starting to take off left and right in the HVAC world. And
That's awesome.
they're very efficient and they're super strong. And the warranty behind them is really good. This is what manufacturer you go with. You can check out the warranty on these things. They're just super efficient. The technology is really neat. I mean, even some of your some of the new technology with thermostats, I like that. And then there's a new panel out there called SPAN, SPAN. That's pretty neat. I don't really mess with solar, so you're never going to ever get a conversation with me about solar because I've got my own opinions on that. But I think that the new movement right now is going to be more on the efficiency level with consumers. And it also allows us to justify if the cost is higher when we're bringing efficiency to something.
Yeah.
The HVAC world has something really cool. It's called Measure Quick.
Wait, what?
Measure Quick. Measure Quick, it's called.
Huh. What's this all about?
Empirical data to prove the efficiency of the system. Check. It is like my buddy out in, where the hell is he? He's in the Midwest, Jason Julian Air. He runs an efficiency report. It's 4 pages long, and it's called Measure Quick. And I was reading his report, and I was so blown away that I always like to put myself in the consumer's point. If I was reading this thing, I would just do business with him because you can literally read the empirical data of what's going on in the rating on where he is and where they need to go. And then you make a buying decision based on the data.
Ooh.
Just if you can use data and efficiency in your sales and make it make sense for the consumer, don't be a scientist about it. Make it make sense to them like we do in financing, right?
Yeah.
No prepayment penalty. What does that mean? That means you can pay the loan off whenever you want. You win the lottery this weekend, send that money to the lender, tell them to pack sand, you're done, right?
Yeah.
So make it make sense, but use the technology and the efficiency tools that are out there now to help you sell. Use tools like Builder Comms and Company Cam and take a lot of pictures of your projects. So when you're pitching and selling to people, you're showing and telling and selling instead of just blah, 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 like I'm doing to you right now. Show pictures of where you were, what it looked like in the middle, and what it looks like at the end, because you're painting the vision of what it's going to look like for their end. But you're actually showing them real pictures and have some fun. Tell some stories because stories always stick. So if you can tell stories with the pictures of the projects that you've done, you got them.
Love it. Love it. Chris, man, I appreciate your time. I know we went long here, man. I love it. I could talk all night about it with you. And again, on a Friday, East Coast, 5 p.m., hopefully you're going to set yourself up for a great weekend. And I appreciate it, man.
Thank you so much, Joe. Thanks for having me. And I really appreciate the folks that took the time to share this with us.
Is it good if people in the group just connect through Messenger, DM you?
Yeah, absolutely. YouTube, the Instagram, the Facebook, whatever. I'm here. You can't miss me.
Awesome. Thanks again, Chris, man. Have a great weekend.
Appreciate you so much, Joe.
All right.